I'm Dalia. I'm a mom to 3 girls. I live with type 1 diabetes. And I would say what I do is I share my journey about, my journey with sports, my journey with life, my journey as a mom, just to connect with people and to, possibly give hope to those who are living with the same condition or those who are struggling with anything in their life. Yeah, and that's it.
What was the hardest point in this journey?
So when I was 24, right after I had my first child, I went to get a checkup, just random, really. And I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I was lucky to find out early. And at that point, I had no idea what diabetes was. طبعا you hear diabetes or سكر, you automatically think just, people who eat too much sugar, which is such a false, false understanding of what diabetes is. So I think when I was diagnosed with type 1, the beginning was extremely difficult. I didn't know what I was dealing with. I had doctors telling me, you can't get pregnant again. You can't eat certain things, which was all, and all the information I got in the beginning wasn't very accurate. I was very depressed. I thought that I had to, stop living the way I was living. But then, I think that first year was the most difficult year. But then I read a lot. I taught myself. I traveled. I met other doctors. And I learned that type 1 is a condition that I live with for the rest of my life. But if I take control of it, and if I understand it and I understand how my body works, that I can live a very, very normal life. And that was really the turning point of everything.
So how did you take control of it?
Knowledge is key, really. The more you know, and the more you don't try to avoid dealing with the struggles. With diabetes, you have to, one of the things you have to do is continuously check your blood sugar, which is something that's so tedious for so many people and for myself. And when you check, sometimes you'll find your blood sugar is good, sometimes you'll have a high, sometimes you'll have a low. فبعد شوية, you actually don't want to do it anymore, But I found that to kind of be true to yourself and say it's okay, it's okay if it's not working sometimes, and it's okay if you have highs or you have lows. You get to understand yourself, you get to understand how it works.
Checking your blood sugar level? Was there fear in it?
Yeah, of course. And the fear, what happens with the fear is you just don't want to see it, so you just avoid checking. But then when you avoid checking, you don't know what's happening, and then you can pretend. A lot of people with diabetes live a life where they just avoid knowing. You won't really feel much when your blood sugar is high. You're a little bit tired, but you can live عادي. But what happens is it's after years of high blood sugars, the complications start, So if you pretend like nothing's there, in 10 years, it's just gonna come, crashing down.
But it takes a lot of courage to actually face that, to face the numbers.
Yeah, and it really takes acceptance, Like if you just accept, okay, this is something that I'm gonna live with. This is something that I can control, actually. If it's high, take some insulin. It's gonna come down. If it's low, it feels awful when you're low. You're dizzy, you feel fainty, but you have to just tell yourself, okay, it's 10 minutes. I'll be fine. I ate something. So it's really a mental state that once you decide to be in that mental state of I'm the one in control, this is something that I accept. It actually becomes, for me, diabetes, I don't know how to explain it, but it made me a stronger person, and it made me a much more resilient person. And it gave me that, that drive to do all the things that I've been doing since my diagnosis, really.
Yeah. Speak to me about the marathon. How did that start?
So it really did start with diabetes. I went to college in Boston, but the Boston Marathon is a really big deal. So I used to watch it every year. And it was one of those things when when I was in college with my friends, and you used to always say, one day we should, maybe run a marathon. But it was really not on my list. But after I, took that decision to kind of take control of diabetes and live a healthy life and really accept what's happening and get myself out of that, that really low point I was in, without even thinking, I went online, I found a marathon and I signed up. I said, okay, khalas, I need to do something to show myself, to prove to myself that if I decide to do anything, I can do it. So the marathon was that tangible thing, if I decide to run a marathon, I'm gonna run a marathon. I signed up, I trained for 3 months, self-training really. And for 3 months, it was me, I looked online for plans. I tested a lot with my blood sugar, because with the training, the blood sugar is a whole other ordeal, like when you're running, how am I gonna check my blood sugar? What do I do if I'm high? What do I do if I'm low? But for 3 months, it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of failures, a lot of successes. And then, 3 months later, I ran my first marathon. Best feeling of my life. Probably my slowest marathon, which doesn't matter. It was still my favorite marathon. Crossing that finish line was, khalas, this is it, from that point onwards, it was all, how am I going to challenge myself next? How am I going to challenge diabetes next? How am I going to show myself and show everyone and prove to myself that I can really do anything? So,
how did you deal with the failure? Especially when you were being this is your body and you're trying things out for yourself, by yourself.
It's very frustrating. And until now, I'm always training for something. I'm always either training to run a marathon or do a triathlon, or, I'm going on a mountain climbing trip, and all of those things that I set out for myself to do. There's the period of, okay, what am I going to do with diabetes? How's that going to work? And then when the failures happen, and they happen often, they have to happen so you know what will work. You get so frustrated, but then it's really a mental thing, because if I mentally tell myself, okay, I know this doesn't work, so that's a good thing. That's one thing I know I should avoid, or that's one thing I know now when it happens, this is what I can do to fix it. So if you decide to just say, okay, I'm going to take the failures as my lessons, you kind of you put this positive spin on it and move forward, really.
What are the main lessons? I'm sure there were a lot of failures, so I'm sure you have a lot of lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think throughout my whole journey until today, one thing I know for sure is believing in yourself. Really, just to believe that you can achieve, and for anyone, not just someone with diabetes or any condition, with any person, if you believe that you can achieve something, that's the first big step. And then after that, commitment, committing to whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't even have to be sports, even if it's, even as a mom, even if I, make decisions as a mother to be present or whatever it is, just committing to whatever you decide to do and to be persistent and believing in yourself. I really do believe anything is possible for anyone if you just work hard for it and believe it.
Why are you advocating for type 1?
Because when I was first diagnosed, I had no idea what was going on. The first 2 years, I was very lost. No matter what you can tell anyone, or no matter if the people around, family support is key, and going to physicians who understand is important, but no one gets it like someone else who's living with it, connecting with someone else who is experiencing the same thing that you are experiencing. No one else can get it. If I get a low, I know that my family sympathizes, and I know that they feel bad or they want to help, but still they don't know what it actually feels like. So I felt like if only I had that person, that person I can call up and say, this really sucks. And they can say, yes, I get it. It sucks. Or, this is This is what I want to do. Yes, yalla, do it, because this is what I did. If only I could connect, I know that it would have made the biggest difference in that beginning phase, you know? So I feel like when I share my journey, it's really for that. And the nice thing is I have connected with so many other people living with type 1 and so many parents whose children are diagnosed. When they call me and connect with me, this is exactly why I wanted to do this, you know, because I meet those kids and I can see from their face when I tell them, you know what it feels like. They feel like, yes, okay, someone gets it, you know? So yeah, this is why I wanted to share.
In closing, one myth, one huge myth about type 1.
That it's caused because of what you eat, or I think a lot of people are embarrassed to say that they're type 1 because they think that it's their fault. They think that it's something that they did, or that they ate too much sweets. Moms who feel guilty that their children are type 1 because of something that they've done, and that is a huge, huge myth. Like, it has nothing to do with, there is nothing you can do to, like, it's, if you have it, you have it, you know? There's nothing to do to not have it. If you have it, it's there. So that's the one thing. And it's heartbreaking to see that a lot of people living with type 1 will hide it, you know, because they're ashamed, or they think that it's something that other people will judge them for it. You know, the best part with this whole thing, you know, like the best part with, I got myself into this sharing my journey, and it's amazing when as a mom, when your children see you do something like this, you know, it's, I feel like just by default, I'm helping them believe in themselves, you know, I'm helping them see that every time I plan something and they look at me like, are you really gonna do this? And I tell them, yes, I can. And then I do it. I know that somewhere inside them, they'll believe that they can do it too, you know. And I think as mothers, living that life, living like whatever you do is gonna reflect so much on who they become. So it's one big incentive to believe in yourself and just go for your dreams. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's really true.